In 1957, America did practically everything in their cars. Drive-in movies, drive-in diners, even drive-in weddings. And why not? The late 50s was arguably the golden era for Detroit cars. Sturdy, well-built classics like the Cadillac, the T-Bird, the Chevy Bel Air. 1957 was also, inarguably, the peak of Detroit Lions football.
The leader was Bobby Lane, a rough and ready Texan who refused to wear a face mask. Lane invented the 2-minute drill and the halftime beer. Hall of Fame teammate Yale Larry once said, "When Bobby said block, you blocked. When he said drink, you drank."
He wanted to win. He hated to lose, and he would not jeopardize by going out on a Saturday night. Now, the rest of the week, it's something else. On Mondays, was our day off, so we had to go down to the office to get our paycheck, and so from there, we'd go right to the stadium bar.
Lane's Lions were so hard to handle that at the Meet the Lions preseason banquet that year, Lions coach Buddy Parker quit in frustration.
I was sitting about 3 feet from him at the head of the table at the Meet the Lions banquet, and all of a sudden he stands up and he says, "I'm out of here."
Didn't matter much. Everybody knew it was Bobby's team. But in the 7th game that season, Lane broke his leg. Enter backup quarterback Tobin Rote, who came in and led the Lions to 6 wins in the next 7 and straight into the championship against running back Jim Brown and the favored Cleveland Browns.
Good afternoon, football fans. This is Bill McColgan speaking to you from Briggs Stadium in Detroit, Michigan, where this afternoon the Browns and the Lions battle it out for the world supremacy of professional football.
This is where the Lions won that 57 title. It was called Briggs Stadium then, and it became Tiger Stadium, and now it's gone.
But for the 57 Lions who are still alive, the memories from that day are still very much here.
I don't think they were really ready for us. We were scratching and scrambling for 4 weeks, and here we are in the championship game, and we're still scrapping and scrambling.
Here's Tobin Rote again, passing. Jim Duran snares it on the 3. Howard Hopalong Cassidy smashes across. Trailing in the final seconds, the Bears pass. George Blanda tosses. And the Lions, Jack Christensen intercepts a great catch and a great run back. 52 yards before he goes off balance. Whoops, he's down. Rote picks up more yardage. It's only insurance now for the Lions, victory that earns them a playoff with the 49ers. John Henry Johnson drives the last nail to secure a 21-13 triumph.
The Lions had battled back several times during the course of that season to show that they were really a second-half team.
Hopalong Cassidy hauls in Bobby Lane's lead pass, and the Lions complete a spectacular 24-point comeback.
The 49ers were the same way. They had Y.A. Tittle and Hugh McElhenney and the alley-oop to RCO. And
this has got to be the alley-oop. There is no time for anything else.
Tied at the end of the regular season, San Francisco hosted the Lions for the right to go to the NFL Championship.
If you're at all a student of NFL history or the 49ers, that's an epic game. They had a 24-7 halftime lead.
They had the game apparently won by halftime. When the 49ers went into the locker room, supposedly the walls between the home and visiting teams was, as they say, paper thin.
And we could hear the 49ers on the other side celebrating the victory already.
San Francisco brought champagne to the locker room. They were very confident they were going to be opening the champagne and that their wives had already spent the championship money for fur coats and houses and cars and so on.
Couple that with the fact that the PA announcer actually announced that tickets were on sale for next week's championship game. They hadn't won the game yet.
I suppose we were happy as could be at 24-7 to be leading. Christensen probably heard that and figured that we thought the game was over.
We had the game under control. There's no question about it. I think it was the first play of the second half. I took the ball down to the 9-yard line. We couldn't put it in. I really believe that if I would have went in to score at that time, that would have been the end of the game. I don't think they would have been able to catch up with us. But within 5 plays, we had them 27-7.
Really, the 49ers became conservative. I think that they would have maintained what they had the first half, that we would have been in trouble. But they sort of late on the lead.
Keyed by 2 second-half touchdowns from Tom the Bomb Tracy, the Lions completed our #2 comeback and left San Francisco stunned.
It had to be the most quiet damn locker room you'd ever find. You know, what can guys say when you lose? Everybody feels lousy.
That stadium just went, you could drop a pin there, you couldn't hear anybody. It was just still.
We lost the game 31-27. Yeah, that'll live in my memory for many, 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 many years.
They crushed Cleveland for their 3rd title in 6 years. Tobin Rote was the hero with 5 touchdowns. But, shocking their fans, the Lions traded Lane at the beginning of the '58 season. And the Bobby Lane curse was born.
They called him at the airport when he's on his way to Lubbock to tell him that he'd been traded. That's why he said he won't win for 50 years. And they haven't.
Since then, Detroit's given us a lot of Ford Pintos, Dodge Omnis, the Chrysler Newport.
And the Detroit Lions have given us even worse, including the only 0-16 team, not a single Super Bowl appearance, and the longest championship drought in the NFL, 58 years.
You think their curse is still alive?
It kind of appears that way, doesn't it? This last thing with the Green Bay, with that Hail Mary, they can't win for losing.
Nowadays, Detroit and the auto industry is on the upswing. The Ford family is even building electric cars. The question is, can they ever build an NFL champion?
I'm waiting for them to win another title because there's nothing better than winning.
I don't think I'm going to live that long.
Both the Lions and the Browns are seeking to add luster to already glorious comebacks this year. The Lions, after winning the Western Division title in 1954, dropped all the way to the cellar in '55. A gallant effort to return to the top fell 1 game short just a year ago when they lost the division crown to the Chicago Bears. But this season, under their new head coach, George Wilson, the Lions made it all the way back, and they did it the hard way. In their last 4 games, they had to come up with victories over the Green Bay Packers, the Browns, the Chicago Bears, and the San Francisco 49ers. The Lions have definitely been a second-half football team over that span. In the second half of those 4 games, they have allowed a total of only 13 points while scoring 76 themselves. The Browns' comeback was of a different type. They won the championship in 1955, but fell to 4th place in the Eastern Division last year with a record of 5-7. The squad, which includes 12 rookies and 5 second-year men, beat the defending champion New York Giants 6-3 in the regular season opener, and that was the psychological lift they needed. Having beaten the champs, they felt they could go all the way. They were led by Tommy O'Connell, a quarterback who many said was too small to make the grade in the professional ranks. It was said that O'Connell didn't have the speed nor the maneuverability to cope with the present-day defenses in pro football. Well, Tommy answered those critics by leading the National Football League in passing as he sparked the Browns to the Eastern Division crown. Speaking of O'Connell, he suffered a severe ankle sprain in one of the final games of the year, this one against the Chicago Cardinals, when he was tackled from behind by Leo Sugar. O'Connell has not seen action since then, but he, of course, has been working out with the Browns for the past couple of weeks, and he has been nominated by head coach Paul Brown to start in this big football game this afternoon. Tommy, of course, during his collegiate days at the University of Illinois, was the Big Ten's top passer. The Browns and the Lions are no newcomers to the championship game. They have met no fewer than 3 times in the past 6 years. They battled it out at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland in 1952, Detroit winning that one by a score of 17-7. Doak Walker, now retired, came up with a big play in that football game, a 67-yard touchdown run. The next year, the scene changed to here at Briggs Stadium in Detroit. That was 1953, when the Lions again defeated the Browns 17-16. Lou Groza of the Browns kicked 3 field goals, and Chick Jagady scored a touchdown for Cleveland, but the Lions won it in the final minutes on a 33-yard pass play from Bobby Lane to Jim Doran. Back in Cleveland in 1954, Otto Graham was the big gun, running for 3 touchdowns, passing for the same number as the Browns defeated the Lions 56-10. And here again this afternoon, it's the Browns and the Detroit Lions battling it out for the World Football Championship. It's a good day for football. The sun is shining here in Detroit. The temperature is 32 degrees, and the wind 18 miles an hour from the west-southwest. The Cleveland Browns, in the toss about 15 minutes ago, won it, as Mike McCormick, their offensive captain, called it, and they'll receive the opening kickoff. They'll defend the north goal. Detroit will kick and will defend the south goal. It's my pleasure to introduce for the play-by-play in the first period and the starting lineups, Ray Scott.
Thank you very much, Bill McColgan, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, and welcome by way of NBC Radio to this Professional World's Championship game. Jim Martin comes to the ball. His boot is high, sails deep and far over the end line. It'll be an automatic touchback. First down and 10, the Cleveland Browns will put the ball in play from their own 20-yard line, moving left to right here in the first period. And we'll pick up their starters for you just as soon as we can. Starting at quarterback will be Tommy O'Connell. Lou Carpenter will start in place of Chet Henulak. Lou from Arkansas, brother of Preston. Jimmy Brown will be at the other running back position, and Ray Renfro will be an inside flanker on the right. The right end is Preston Carpenter, and the left end split is Brewster, and O'Connell fades to pass on the first play. He throws deep and out to the left, and Brewster has it at the sidelines and is belted out of bounds immediately after a gain of 17 yards to the 37 or possibly 38-yard line of Cleveland. A down-and-out pass pattern on the first play finds Tommy O'Connell hitting Pete Brewster. He's run out of bounds by Carl Karalevitz of the Detroit Lions secondary. And so the Browns are 1 for 1 in the passing department. First and 10, the ball at the inbounds marker, far side of the field, at their own 37-yard line. Up front, Art Hunter's at center. The guards are Forrester and Jim Ray Smith, Lou Groza, Mike McCormick at the tackles. We've already told you of the ends. They're both split this time. O'Connell under center. The snap, pitch going to the left side and swinging outside of end and belted out of bounds at the 43-yard line is Jimmy Brown. Carl Karalevitz again in on the defensive play. The gain is beyond the 40 to the 43-yard line. Out of bounds on the far side of the field. It is a gain from the 37 to the 43 of 6. Second down, 4. Calling the defensive signals for the Detroit Lions is Joe Schmidt. It'll find Kenny Cons punting from the Cleveland 31. The pass from center is true. The kick is a wobbly one off to the right. Barr watches it land at the 25, rolls back to the 20. He picks it up and is downed immediately at the 10-yard line. He was driven back from the 11, is where the ball will be placed, as Terry Barr elected to handle that punt with 3 Browns standing by. And split left about 10 yards. The snap. John Henry Johnson over right guard to the 25 to the 30. Swings to the left, 35, 40-yard line. John Henry Johnson broke over a big hole on the right side of the Browns line. Swung out to the left. He's finally brought down by Don Paul of the secondary and Galen Fisk, the linebacker. John Henry Johnson carries for a Cleveland first down just shy of the Lion 40 by a half yard. And again, it's Walt Michaels setting up the defense for Cleveland. A 19-yard run for John Henry Johnson. Again, Cassidy will be a flanker to the right. Junker and Doran are split at ends a couple of yards. The snap, and Rote fades to pass. He looks, he throws over the middle, and it is complete at the Brown 40-yard line to right end Steve Junker, who cut across the middle and made a tremendous catch right in front of Kenny Cons, who made the tackle. So Rote is 1 for 1 in the passing department, and the Lions are in Cleveland Brown territory at the 40-yard line. First down and 10, Detroit. There is no score after 5 minutes of play in the first period. This is the first time that either team has been able to penetrate beyond the 50. The Lions, first down and 10 at Cleveland's 40-yard line. And Steve Junker. Jim Doran is split left. Rote fades to pass on second down 9. He hits his man at the 26-yard line. Doran, he falls forward to the 25 as he's tackled. Don Paul makes the tackle. As the left end, Jim Doran made a move as if to go deep, but he stopped, button hook, took the strike, and it's a first down for Detroit at the 26-yard line as the ball is placed down at the inbounds marker. The defender that time slipped as he came to make the defensive play. The field is in, as we told you prior to the start of the game, excellent condition considering the weather, but it has its slippery spots. Cassidy is a flanker way outside to the right this time, and only the left end, Doran, is split. First and 10 at the 26-yard line of Cleveland. Detroit's Tobin Rote under center. No score in the game, first quarter. A fake to Johnson, and Gedman on a trap play over the right side. Comes up to the 22-yard line, and there he's thrown back very hard by 4 Cleveland Brown players led by Vince Costello and Galen Fisk, 2 of the linebackers. The fake that time went to the first man through, John Henry Johnson. The handoff went actually to Gene Gedman. The forward progress is marked at 23-yard line, so it is a gain of 3. Second down, 7. Detroit in possession at the Cleveland Brown 23-yard line. Unofficially, 7 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in the first quarter. There is no score. Up along Cassidy, flanks outside to the right, and again, Tobin Rote has his right end tight, and Jim Doran split left about 8 yards, and Rote fades to pass on second down 7. He throws deep for Cassidy. He's in the end zone. It is incomplete. Warren Lahr went down with Cassidy, who, as he crossed the goal line, had about 2 steps on Lahr, but the ball thrown high, as Cassidy was in the deep right corner of the end zone, enabled Lahr to get down and break it up, as both he and Cassidy went up for it. The pass is incomplete, and so now with 4th down at about 7, into the game comes Jim Martin. He will apparently attempt a field goal. The attempt, with Tobin Rote holding, will come from the Cleveland 31-yard line. Midway in the first quarter, there is no score. The Lions right now are going to try and score. The snap, the kick. It is good. The score, the Detroit Lions 3, the Cleveland Browns nothing. Lions score first and lead 3-0 at the midway point of the first period. The whistle with Campbell and Brown deep to receive. Jimmy Brown in the end zone, takes it 5 yards deep and decides to run it out. He comes up the left side to the 5, to the 10, and he's spun under at the 17. Making the tackle, along with Jim Martin, who kicked off, Gary Lowe, who is in there on the kickoff team for Detroit. He is a defensive back. So the Browns have the ball, first down and 10 at their own 17-yard line. The white-clad Cleveland Browns moving left to right here in this first period, trailing by a score of 3-0. The ball at the inbounds marker, far side of the field. Again under center, it'll be Tommy O'Connell. Ray Renfro will flank to the right. The ends are in tight. In the running back spots are Carpenter, Lou Carpenter, and Jimmy Brown. O'Connell fades to pass. Excellent protection. Throws out to the left side. Renfro has it at the 27-yard line. He's brought down immediately. Making the tackle, Yale Larry. Whistle on the field. We're going to have an official timeout. It is not a team timeout. That play started at the 17, and it's very close to a first down. It is short by about a foot. Second down and just inches. Bill, if I may, you've watched the Browns all season long. On a second down and inches to go, have they shown the inclination to go for the works at a spot like this?
Yes, Ray Scott, there have been times when they have gone for the distance, when it appears that it might be just a straight buck up the middle. But right now, let's see what head coach Paul Brown has sent in.
He again has made his change at a guard position with instructions on second down and a foot to go at the Browns' 27-yard line. O'Connell under center. 5-man, Detroit Lions. The snap. Straight ahead goes Jimmy Brown. Across the 30, he has the first down with a couple of yards to spare. The Detroit Lions, in chalking up their field goal, making the march deep into Cleveland territory, chalked up 4 first downs as that drive started from the 10. Joe Schmidt and Gil Maines in on the stop for Detroit on this last play as Jimmy Brown picks up the first down at the Cleveland Brown 30-yard line. Jimmy Brown, who pulled down the rushing crown in the National Football League this year. First-year man from Syracuse, he has been tremendous. This time, O'Connell is going to split both his ends, and Renfro is an inside flanker on the right side. And the running backs are wide apart as O'Connell fades to pass. He looks once, he throws, it is intercepted by Bob Long. He's at the 30, the Brown 25, he's at the 20-yard line. The roar tells you how this highly partisan Detroit Lion crowd felt about that interception by left linebacker Bob Long from UCLA. And the ball is spotted at the 19-yard line of Cleveland, inbounds marker near side of the field, and the Lions, moving right to left, have a tremendous break. Temperature of about 32 degrees here in Detroit. The Lions leading 3-0. Both ends split this time, and Middleton flanks outside to the left. Rote fades to pass. Now he runs up the middle. He's at the 15. He's at the 10, the 5, the 3, the 1-yard line. He's right down within a foot or so of that goal line. Tobin Rote went busting up that middle. Tobin Rote has been, throughout his great career in the National Football League with the Packers and this year with the Detroit Lions, one of the great running quarterbacks. He's averaged 5 yards a carry. He brings his team to first down and goal to go on the 1. Dave Middleton is the flanker to the right. The rest of the line is tight, and Rote sneaks into the end zone for the touchdown. Jim Martin comes into the game. He will attempt the extra point as the Lions now lead with 4 minutes of play unofficially remaining in the first period, 9-0. Rote will hold. The snap, the ball is down. The kick is in the air. It is good. The point is good, and the score now. The Detroit Lions 10, the Cleveland Browns nothing. Jim Martin preparing to come up to the ball with again Jimmy Brown and Milt Campbell back to receive at the goal line. Martin comes to the ball. His kick is high and swings off to the right. Campbell comes up to it at the 3-yard line, to the 10, to the left, 15, to the 20. To the 23-yard line. A fumble. The ball is loose. It is rolling back toward the goal line. It is recovered at the 15-yard line by Detroit. We will credit Terry Barr of the defensive secondary in on the kickoff team of Detroit for recovering that fumble at the Cleveland Browns 15-yard line as Milt Campbell fumbled. And Detroit has their second break in just a couple of moments. Tobin Rote under center, Middleton flanking to the left. Third down, 9 yards to go. The ball at the 14-yard line. Rote fades to pass. Looks right, looks left. Over the middle, it is complete to the 5, to Junker, to the 2, to the 1. And he's swarmed under it about the 2-yard line. Right over the middle, Steve Junker got loose. It is a first down and goal to go at the 1.5-yard line of Cleveland. As Rote, at the last instant, as he was about to be hit, spotted Junker over the middle loose. He hit him with a beauty. First down and goal to go. Detroit at the 1.5-yard line. Late first quarter, a little better than 2 minutes remaining. The official time in the National Football League is kept by the umpire. The clock that we refer to is unofficial. The first touchdown of the game. Jim Martin kicked the extra point and they led 10-0. A fumble on the ensuing kickoff. The Lions recovered and they're now third and goal to go on the 6-inch line. Rote under center again, a massed defensive line. Straight ahead goes Gedman. He is in there. Gene Gedman scores the second touchdown of the game for the Detroit Lions. And this team that has been a second-half team and unable to score in the last few games, at least very often in the first half, is suddenly on top of a 16-0 lead. Rote holding, Martin attempting the conversion. The snap, the ball is down, the kick is in the air. It is good. And so now the Detroit Lions lead the Cleveland Browns by a score of 17-0. Better than a minute remaining in the first period, and the Lions leading by a score of 17-0. Martin comes to the ball. His boot is down the middle, and Reynolds at the 4, slips to one knee, gets up, comes to the 10, 15, 20, 22, and there he's hit by a very hard tackle by John Gordy, rookie guard from Tennessee, in on the kickoff unit for Detroit. First down and 10 to Cleveland at their own 22-yard line, between the 21 and 22. Tommy O'Connell will be the Cleveland Brown quarterback. Tommy from the University of Illinois has had a tremendous year for Cleveland. He has an inside flanker on the right, Ray Renfro. The ends are split. Brown and Carpenter at the running back positions, and fading to pass is O'Connell. He looks to the left and he throws deep, intended for Brewster. It is complete and going out of bounds at the 42-yard line, as wrestling him out is Carl Karolevitz of the Detroit secondary. Pete Brewster takes the down and out pass from Tommy O'Connell. Seconds remaining in the first period. First down for Cleveland at their own 41.5-yard line. The guards exchanging for Cleveland today with instructions from Paul Brown are Jim Ray Smith and Fred Robinson. Fred from the University of Washington. Jim Ray Smith from Baylor. Renfro is flanking outside the right end, who is tight this time, as O'Connell gives to Carpenter. Fakes to Carpenter, and off to the left side goes Renfro with blockers in front of him to the 50, 45, 40, into Detroit territory at the 37-yard line. A beautiful fake that time. It looked as if Lou Carpenter was swinging out to the right, but Ray Renfro from his flanking position on the right, circled wide to the left, and crossed into Detroit territory and is finally brought down at the 38-yard line by Yale Larry. First down and 10, Cleveland now at the 38-yard line of Detroit. Ray Renfro breaks out of the huddle and flanks to the right side. Pete Brewster is split left. The right end, Preston Carpenter, is in tight. O'Connell the snap. Swinging out to the left this time is Carpenter. He cuts back sharply, brought down from behind at the 35-yard line by Bob Long, who circled the play, and Terry Barr, who came up from the secondary, along with Gil Maines, the defensive right end. Preston Carpenter is the right end of the Cleveland Browns in their offensive unit, and in a running back position, Lou Carpenter. They are brothers, both from the University of Arkansas. A gain on the play to the 34-yard line of 4, and it's second down, 6 for Cleveland. There is the gun. That's the end of the first quarter and the score. The Detroit Lions 17, the Cleveland Browns nothing.
Bruce to the left end is split. The flanker, Ray Renfro, is out to the right. The handoff goes to the fullback, Jimmy Brown. He's at the 30, down to the 25. He's to the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, and he's in for a touchdown. Jimmy Brown leaves Detroit tacklers scattered all over the field. Carl Karalevich had a shot at him at the 15. Also, number 24, Jack Christensen. But Brown, the former All-American from Syracuse University, who led the National Football League in ground gaining this year, just ran over them, and the Browns now have their first touchdown. Jimmy Brown going 30 yards for a touchdown, and the score is now 17-6, and of course it'll be Lou the Toe Groza who will try to pick up the extra point. Tommy O'Connell holding. There's the snapback from center. It's spotted, it's booted, it's good, and it's now a 17-7 football game. It was his 58-yard run which started them on the road to victory. Groza gets the whistle, moves up on the football. It's a low kick going down to about the 4-yard line. It's taken by Larry's to the 10, the 15, to the 20, moves to his left at the 25, and goes down as he gets to about the 29 or the 30. Yale Larry, the former Texas A&M star from Fort Worth, Texas, took the kick on the Lion 4-yard line, and he returned it all the way to the 30 before he was tackled by Bobby Freeman. In case you joined us late, the Lions picked up all 17 points in the first period. 3 of them coming on a field goal by Jim Martin to give them a 3-0 lead. And then they intercepted a pass. It was Bob Long who intercepted it to set up a touchdown. And then a fumble by Milt Campbell set up another Detroit score. The Browns scored early in this period on a 30-yard run by their great fullback, rookie Jimmy Brown. The Lions have it, second down, about 7 yards to go. The ball resting just over the 15-yard line at the 16. Doran is out to the right. Middleton out to the left. The left-end junker split by about 5 yards. Rhodes is going back to pass. He throws. It's good to Doran at the 25-yard line. Wrestled out of bounds by Kenny Cons, but it's going to be enough for the first down. Middleton is out to the right this time. The right-end junker is split, and Doran is the left end. Here it goes to Johnson. He's at the 30, the 35. He's at the 40. Cuts to his left. He's at the 45-yard line. Is hit and still on his feet, and now is dropped at the 47. Don Colo upfield. Vince Costello also upfield to make the tackle. Another fine run by John Henry Johnson with Waller Michaels, who finally grabbed him. He was hit a couple of times, but still kept going. And the Lions have another first down at their own 47-yard line. The Lions leading the Browns by a score of 17-7 with 9 minutes left to play in the first half of this game. Dave Middleton takes his flanking spot to the right. Jim Doran is the left end, and he's split way out. Junker split by about 5. Rote throws the quick one. Tracy has it at the 30. He's down to the 25. Tackled by Waller Michaels. That time Tobin Rote sent about 4 receivers downfield. Tracy has been injured on the play. He was hit hard by Waller Michaels. A 16-yard pass play from Tobin Rote to Tom Tracy, who hails from nearby Pontiac, Michigan. Trace played his college football at Tennessee. And it's now fourth down coming up and 11 yards to go, and we may have Jim Martin trying another field goal. He booted one early in the first period to give the Lions a 3-0 lead at the time. Detroit moving out of the huddle, and it's going to be a field goal try. Tobin Rote will hold, and Jim Martin will try. If it's good, it'll be from the 33-yard line. It's a fake. Rote is running with the ball. He throws a pass, and it's going to be for a touchdown. Fake field goal. beautifully executed a fake field goal. Tobin Rote was holding. Instead, he picked it up, rolled to his right, saw Junker down there all alone, and it went for the touchdown. Jim Martin out trying for the extra point. The ball is spotted. It's booted. It's good. And the Detroit Lions now lead by a score of 24-7. Ed Brown on the near side. That was a 26-yard scoring pass. Rote to Junker. There's the kick. It's a good high one. Reynolds goes way back and goes out of the end zone, so it'll be a touchback, and the Browns will take over 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. Jim Martin really booting them today. That's the second one that has carried all the way out of the end zone, and several others have gone down to the end zone. Well, the crowd of more than 56,000 here at Briggs Stadium still talking about that fake field goal and the touchdown pass from Tobin Rote to the rookie end, Steve Junker. The Browns move out of the huddle. Renfro's the flanker out to the left. Tommy O'Connell at quarterback, calling the signals. He takes. He's going back to pass. He throws. It's good to Brewster at the 35-yard line. Tackled immediately and pushed out of bounds. Tommy O'Connell finding the lanky left end, Pete Brewster, in the open at the 35. Bounced out of bounds immediately by Jack Christensen. But it goes as a first down for the Browns, moving the ball from the 20 to the 35-yard line. Brewster, 6'4", 210 pounds, in his 6th year in the National Football League. He played his college football at Purdue University. 1st and 10 as the Browns move to the line of scrimmage. Renfro out to the right. Brewster, the left end, is split. The Lions in the 5-man line. The handoff goes to Lou Carpenter. He gets the block from Robinson, but he is nailed and back to the line of scrimmage. It was Joe Schmidt, the Lions' defensive captain, and their fine linebacker, along with Yale Larry. Actually, it was Schmidt who made the tackle, and Larry then came up to make sure that Carpenter wasn't going to go anywhere. So Lou Carpenter, the former Detroit Lion, playing in his first year with Cleveland, loses a couple of yards from the 35 to the 33, and it'll be 2nd down and 12 yards to go. Cleveland coming out of the huddle. O'Connell calls the signals. Again, the Lions in their 5-man line. The flip goes to Henulak. He's going to throw the football. He throws. It is intercepted. Chet Henulak trying to pass to Ray Renfro, but it was intercepted by Jim David, and the Lions have the ball. Tommy O'Connell gave to Chet Henulak. He started to run out to his right as if it were a running play. Then he threw the pass. Intercepted by Jim David at the Browns' 46-yard line. And so the Lions again have the ball in Cleveland territory at the Browns' 46. First down, 10 yards to go for Detroit in the Cleveland 46. There's the snap back to Rote. He's back to pass. He gets protection. He throws. It's good to Junker. He has it at the 40. He's at the 35, down to the 30. He fumbles. The ball is in the playing field. It is picked up by Don Paul down inside the 10 in Cleveland territory, and down he goes at the 6-yard line. Hopalong Cassidy, I believe, who made the tackle on the play. It was Waller Michaels who hit Steve Junker, who caught the ball originally. Rote to Junker. Junker had moved out to about the Browns' 20-yard line. He was hit hard by Michaels. Jordan threw loose from the ball, and the ball went to the 6-yard line, where Don Paul picked it up, started to run with it, but was dropped by Hopalong Cassidy. Cleveland out of the huddle. 3rd down and 10. Brewster, the left end, split way out. Zatkoff over there to cover him. O'Connell throwing over this way. It is intercepted by Terry Barr, and it's going to be a touchdown. Tommy O'Connell throwing from his end zone, intended for Pete Brewster at about the 18-yard line in Cleveland territory. Picked off by the speedy Terry Barr, the former Michigan star, who raced down the near sideline. No one had a chance. Now Tobin Rote holding at the 10-yard line. Jim Martin boots, and it's good. The point is good. The score is the Detroit Lions 31 and the Cleveland Browns 7.
When it comes to buying cars, I guess most people are looking for some way to get more for less. And surprising as it may seem, a simple comparison can show you just how to do that. Just compare Pontiac with cars in the low price class. You'll find no matter which way you look at it, style, performance, comfort, or value, the Pontiac Chieftain beats the best of the low-price three and for less money. The Chieftain's bigger with a whopping 122-inch wheelbase and Pontiac's roomy stretch-out interiors. The Chieftain's more powerful. They all fall far short of Pontiac's jewel-of-action Tempest 395 performance. The Chieftain's more advanced in design, with aeroframe stability, quadrupoise roadability, and circles of steel safety. And the Pontiac Chieftain gives you dozens of extras at no extra cost. For example, twice as many color choices, wall-to-wall carpeting standard on even the lowest price models, oversized tires, safety flat glass all around, crank-operated venti panes, and many others. Believe me, any way you compare it, the Pontiac Chieftain beats the best.
Martin kicking off. Jimmy Brown takes it in the end zone. He's to the 10, the 15, the 20, the 25, the 30, the 35. Cuts to his left. He's at the 45-yard line to the 46, and there he's tackled. Up along Cassidy, making the tackle for the Detroit Lions. The kick went all the way into the Browns' end zone. It was high. The Lions were downfield quickly, but Jimmy Brown broke away from a couple of them and returned upfield to the 46-yard line in Cleveland territory, where it'll be first down for Cleveland, 10 yards to go. And I believe Milt Plum is in the backfield at quarterback, replacing Tommy O'Connell. 3 minutes left to play in the first half. Detroit 31, the Cleveland Browns 7. Renfro out to the right. Chet Hanulak to the left in the double wing this time. Both ends split by about 4 yards. Milt Plum and the quarterback draws at the 50, the 45. He cuts to his right and gets to the 36-yard line, where he is tackled by Terry Barr. On the quarterback draw, Milt Plum, the Browns' fine rookie quarterback from Penn State, set up as if to pass and then took off up the middle and got to the Lions' 36-yard line before Terry Barr made the tackle for the Detroit team. So it's 1st and 10 for the Browns on the Detroit 36, and the Browns have their work cut out for them if they hope to get back in this football game. They trail by a score of 31-7 with just a couple of minutes remaining in the first half. Right, Hanulak to the left as again we have the double wing. The Lions up there in a 6-man line. The rush will be on this time. Plum back to pass. He gets protection. He throws. It is intercepted. Joe Schmidt, the Lion captain, has it down at the 19-yard line. He was tackled immediately by Preston Carpenter. It was intended for Carpenter, and it was Carpenter who made the tackle. So the Lions take over on the interception by their captain, Joe Schmidt, at the Detroit 19-yard line. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification.
This is WGY, WGFM Schenectady.
Rote is set to hold the ball. It's spotted. It's booted. It is no good. It's off to the left. The 44-yard field goal try is no good, and the score remains 31-7. That's the end of the first half. The score, the Detroit Lions 31, the Cleveland Browns 7.
The curse of Bobby Lane? You would have to ask me that, wouldn't you? I don't know specifically what it is, but there's so many freaking curses around here. Why not throw Bobby into it? What is it?
It all started in the 50s, Detroit's golden years.
It was good times back then, really good times. People were working 2 or 3 jobs, and money was everywhere. And their football team was winning. It was a happy time.
The Lions were one of the dominant teams of the decade, winning 3 NFL championships. Their leader was Bobby Lane, a fan favorite who played hard on and off the field.
He could go out and spend hours the night before drinking, and in the fourth quarter, Lane would have one of his magical comebacks.
Bobby Lane makes like a burglar as he sneaks through the 49ers for a touchdown.
Later that week, he would be in the courtroom because he would be arrested, and the judge would say, "You're slurring, Mr. Lane." Bobby Lane would say, "That's my Texas straw, Your Honor."
The Lions grew tired of their quarterback's off-the-field antics and signed veteran Tobin Rote, number 18, to split time with Lane. Lane wasn't happy with the arrangement, but soon he would go from sharing a job to not having one.
Bobby Lane was hit by 2 defensive linemen on the Browns and had a broken leg.
Rote led the Lions to the 57 championship, and the next season, a bitter Bobby Lane was traded to Pittsburgh.
As he left Detroit, supposedly Lane said the Detroit Lions are never going to win again.
Actually, legend has it that Lane said the Lions wouldn't win for 50 years, and the curse was born.
It sounds like him, you know, because he believed the world went around him, and without him, it was going to stop.
Our thoughts really create destiny. Now, in the case of Bobby being traded as a result of an injury, he would definitely feel very slighted, feel angry, feel used. Just the anger itself has enough energy to put yourself in a cycle of failure.
Bizarre failures have cursed the Lions for 5 decades. What other team could lose a game on a 63-yard field goal to a kicker with half a foot?
Here's a snap. The ball is down. Dempsey kicks. It's on the way. It is good. It's good.
Or hold a team to a mere 5 points in a playoff game and score none. Some of the blame falls on mysterious coaching decisions, like faking a punt from their own 12 while clinging to a fourth-quarter lead. This, of course, led to a loss. The 2002 game in Chicago was downright creepy. Head coach Marty Morningwig won the coin toss in overtime, but elected to kick off. Chicago gladly took the ball and marched right down the field.
What a decision, huh? The wind is the reason.
I don't care. You don't give up the ball.
Delivers the kick, end over end, fighting the win, and he's good! In overtime, they beat the Detroit Lions!
Only the Lions would douse their head coach after a win in Week 8. Detroit's biggest claim to fame in 50 years is Barry Sanders, the NFL's third leading rusher of all time. He's number 3 going forward, but with 1,114 yards lost in negative runs, he's number 1 going backwards. But going in the wrong direction is nothing new to the Lions.
Maybe there is something. I got to start thinking about this curse now.
It's easy to believe in this curse because the position that has been most cursed on the Lions since Bobby Lane left is the quarterback position, his position.
Munson made the comedy complete by throwing still another interception, the 4th in 5 consecutive pass plays.
Every guy who comes along as the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, they're all compared to Lane. He's a legend here, and they haven't had a legendary quarterback since.
The Lions have had only one Pro Bowl quarterback since Lane, the not-so-fleet-footed Greg Landry, and Detroit had him run the option. Still not convinced about the curse? Just look at how Lane changed Pittsburgh's luck. Before trading for Lane, the Steelers hadn't won a playoff game in their 25-year history. Since the trade, they've won 28. Of Pittsburgh's 5 Super Bowl championships, the toughest one for Lions fans to stomach was the last. The Steelers were crowned in, of all places, Detroit. And Detroit native Jerome Bettis raised the Lombardi Trophy.
And I think the bus is, the last stop is here in Detroit.
In Detroit, the ride usually ends with the regular season. The Lions have only one playoff win in 50 years.
The curse could last 50 years simply because it's perpetuated every year. Angry fans, negative fans, they're actually contributing a great deal to blocking the team from winning. Let's take this energy and let's do something positive with it.
This is the year, baby! 19-0! Believe it! Lions in the bowl in Tampa!
Seeing them going to the Super Bowl Just use that energy of the mind. It's how you create destiny. And visualize these things.
For many, Detroit winning the Super Bowl is tough to imagine. But now that the 50 years are finally over and the curse has expired, the Lions just might have a ghost of a chance.
Long live Lane.
Said this team won't be good, or we won't win anything for 50 years.
Oh, well, good. That's up. Good for us.
But that's why we're asking.
Perfect. Is that what he said, 50 years? I'm glad he didn't say 51. I couldn't take any more.
At Briggs Stadium in Detroit, Michigan, Ray Scott along with Bill McColgan at halftime of the championship game of the National Football League between the Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns.
We have some official statistics. First downs rushing for Detroit 7, the Browns 4. Passing, the Lions 6, the Browns 3. By penalty, none. Total first downs, Detroit 13, the Browns 7. Yards gained rushing, the Lions 95, the Browns 89. Passing, Detroit 125, Cleveland 54. Yards lost attempted passing, Detroit none, Cleveland 7. Total yards gained, that's net, 220 for the Lions, 143 for the Browns. The Lions have taken to the air 14 times. Tobin Rote has completed 7 of them. The Browns have thrown 12 times, completed only 4. And the Lions, and this has been a big factor in the game thus far, have intercepted 4 of the Cleveland passes. 2 of Tommy O'Connell's, 1 of Chet Hanulak, and 1 of Mills Plum. The Lions have already received instructions from their coaching staff. They're all set to receive the kickoff for the third period. The Browns are still huddled around their head coach, Paul Brown, who undoubtedly had something to say to them at halftime in the locker room in an attempt to get back into this championship football game. The Browns are now moving out on the field, so here again, with the play-by-play of the third period of this football game, is Ray Scott.
Right, Bill McColgan. Kicking off will be Lou Groza. He comes up to the ball. His boot is high, fairly deep. Larry at the goal line. To the 5 up the middle, 10, 15, slings to the right, 20, 25-yard line, he's snowed under. Yale Larry. The playing field now completely covered by shadow here at Briggs Stadium. Cassidy breaks out of the huddle and flanks to the right. The split left end is Doran. Third down between 6 and 7 for Detroit. Tobin Rote under center. The snap. Looks, throws. Cassidy has it at the 34, rolls forward to the 35. Fumble. Cleveland is on the ball. The question now is whether the fumble occurred before or after the whistle. It was after the whistle, so ruled by the officials. Warren Lahr made the tackle on Cassidy. It is short of a first down by a half yard. Fourth down coming up for Detroit. The kicking unit has not come in. The Lions looking to the bench. Tobin Rote comes up now and says that he wants to see how close it is to a first down. 4 members of the Detroit Lion kicking team had started onto the field. Tobin Rote now is leaving the field, and the kicking unit takes over, led by Yale Larry. The Detroit Lions make their changes. The Cleveland Browns make changes. They're sending back in punt receiving position Chet Hanulak on the left and Billy Reynolds on the right. Larry will punt from the Detroit Lion 20-yard line. Early in the third quarter, 31-7 the score, the Lions on top. A high pass from center. Larry gets it. His boot is a high and a very deep one. Drives Reynolds back to the 19-yard line. Swings to the right. Cut from behind at the 20. Cut from behind by John Gordy, the rookie guard from Tennessee. He was aided by Dorn Dibble. The ball will be spotted at the 20-yard line of Cleveland. A 45-yard punt from line of scrimmage by Yale Larry. And so the Browns, trailing 31-7, will scrimmage at 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Tommy O'Connell played most of the game at quarterback in the first half, although late in the second quarter, Milt Plum came in to take over, and he's in there now. The rookie from Penn State, 6'1", 205, did a great job filling in for the injured O'Connell the latter part of the regular season. Second down, 10 from the 20. Plum under center. Pitches out to the right to Carpenter. He comes up to the line of scrimmage to the 25, to the 30, swings to the 35, to the right sideline, 40, 45, and upended at the 48-yard line. Pete Brewster threw the big block for him that time to spring him loose from the line of scrimmage. Jim David finally made the tackle, but it's a long gain for Lou Carpenter.
from the 20 to the 47, 27 yards. The ball at the inbounds marker, far side of the field. The Browns are moving right to left. Early in the third period, about 3 minutes have been played. 31-7, Detroit's on top. Carpenter, Preston Carper splits out to the right. The left end is fairly tight. Renfro flanks outside the left end. Swinging out to the left side is Preston Carpenter. Gets away from two tacklers. Is stormed under at the 49. Lou Carpenter, just shy of the 50. His forward progress marked the 49.5, and it's Gil Maines and Bob Long who are the key men defensively for Detroit on that play. A gain of 3, second down 7. The Browns within a half yard of crossing midfield. About 10 minutes now remaining in the third quarter. There's been no scoring in this period. Ray Renfro flanks out to the right. Carpenter splits a couple of yards. Pete Brewster splits left a couple. It's a double wing now. Lou Carpenter comes out to the left, and O'Connell Plum fades the pass. It is complete to Carpenter at the 35, comes to the 32-yard line, and there he's upended. Preston Carpenter, the right end, brought down by Jim David, as he apparently was going to be brought down by about 3 different Detroit Lions, but he was able to wrestle away from them and move down to the 32-yard line. And the Browns are on the move. The Detroit Lions punted to Cleveland a moment ago. Lou Carpenter, a 27-yard run, now took the pass at the 32-yard line of Detroit. It is first down and 10, and Renfro flanks to the right. The ends are tight. Off to the right guard position goes Lou Carpenter across the 30 to the 28-yard line. After a fake first to the fullback up the middle. Joe Schmidt brings him down to the 28, a 4-yard pickup. Gain of 4 on the last play, second down 6, and Renfro breaks huddle and flanks out to the right. As so far, the Browns are keeping their ends in tight on this series. Milt Plum under center. The snap, fake to 2 men, rolls out to the right looking for a receiver. He's being chased, he throws, he has Carpenter at the 18, and he's down at the 16. Preston Carpenter, the right end. Went down, went out, Milt Plum rolled out to the right, spotted him and hit him with a strike. Joe Schmidt made the tackle, the ball at the 16-yard line. It'll be another first down for the Cleveland Browns. The Browns need this ball, and they need a touchdown. They're trailing 31-7. Unofficial time remaining about 8 minutes in the third quarter. Jim David comes out. Jack Christensen moves in for Detroit in the secondary as Renfro flanks to the right and Pete Brewster split at left end. Milt Plum the snap. Swinging out to the left is Jimmy Brown. He has one blocker in front of him. He's being chased. He gets to the 15. He gets to the 10-yard line, swinging out to the left and out of bounds. And there, Carl Karalevitz hits him with a shoulder tackle and spins him out. Jim Ray Smith led the blocking from his left guard position. He pulled out, was in front of Jimmy Brown, and threw a real good block and enabled him to pick up 6. Plum under center. The snap fades directly back to pass. He's looking. He throws out to the right to Carpenter. He has at the 6. He's belted out of bounds at the 5. Preston Carpenter takes the pass out in the right flat. Is hit out of bounds by Yale Larry. This will be very close to a first down, so the officials will not move the ball from the point where Carpenter went out of bounds. And we have an official timeout for a measurement, and the chains on the near side of the field have to go all the way across to the far side. And Lou Groza is standing over there to look at it. The chains are stretched. First down by just the nose of the ball at the 5. First and goal to go. And so the Browns' Milt Plum comes up with the yardage that he must have to keep this drive going. A field goal at this point would mean practically nothing to the Browns, and they know it. First and goal to go on the Detroit Lions 5-yard line, and 2 replacements come in for Cleveland. The one is the guard, Fred Robinson, was Preston Carpenter. He was just over asking for instructions. He comes back in at right end. This time it's a fairly tight tee. Renfro a yard outside the left end. First and goal at the 5. Out to the left side comes Carpenter, Preston Carpenter. He cuts and he's into the end zone. It was Lou Carpenter, not Preston Carpenter. Lou wearing number 30, not Preston number 40, but he's into the end zone, and the Browns have that touchdown that they needed. And they trail now by a score of 31-13. And there are still 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and Lou Groza will be in to attempt the extra point. He tried 32 during the regular season, and he made every one of them. He converted his only other chance today. 80 yards and 10 plays for the Browns, as Groza, with O'Connell holding, will try for the extra point. The ball is down, the kick is in the air. It is good. The point is good. The score now, the Detroit Lions 31, the Cleveland Browns 14.
Cost just pennies a portion. Get some tomorrow.
Hydrate, 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 and hydrate. I always ask for hydrate because it's all pure sleep.
Lou Groza preparing to kick off for the Browns with Gedman and Larry deep to receive as the Browns have started what their followers hope will be a second half comeback. Groza comes to the ball. Fairly deep into the end zone. Larry, 2 yards deep, comes to the 5, swings to the left, back to the right, 15, 20, spins away from 2 tacklers, but is down at the 22. Board clock. And the sun continues to shine here in Detroit, and we're aided by the lights that were turned on at halftime here at Briggs Stadium. Cassidy flanks out to the left. Johnson, Gedman in the running back positions, and out to the right split at the end is Doran. Rote throws deep. Doran's there. He has it at the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. He's going all the way. 78 yards. The excellent protection set up for Tobin Rote, who first faked the pitch to the left, enabled him to get all the time that was necessary for Jim Doran to get behind the secondary and complete a 78-yard pass and run play. Jim Martin tries for the conversion. The ball is down. The kick is in the air. It is good. So the Lions, striking with suddenness, have equalized the Cleveland Brown touchdown, an extra point here in the third period, to go 78 yards on a pass and run from Tobin Rote to Jim Doran. It isn't very often that the members of that Cleveland Brown secondary see a man get behind him the way Jim Doran did that time. In deep position are Billy Reynolds and Jimmy Brown for Cleveland. The kick is high, not very deep. Brown takes it at the 11. Comes to the 15, the 20, swings to the left to the 25, to the 28. Bringing him down, Jim Martin, who kicked off, along with Gary Lowe, defensive back of Detroit, who is in there on the kickoff team. First down and 10. The Browns at their own 28-yard line, between the 27 and 28 to be exact. The snap, and Plum fades to pass. He's back up. He is hit, and down he goes at the 17. As that time, the Detroit Lions used the strategy of shoot the gap with the linebackers. And along with Krause and Maines, the linebackers were really in there, and Plum never had a chance. And he loses from the 27 to the 17, a loss of 10. The Browns now in punt formation will have Kenny Cons kicking from the 5. Back to receive for Detroit, Terry Barr, Yale Larry. The pass from center, the punt. Fair catch by Larry at the 41-yard line of Detroit. Coming down very fast under that punt for Cleveland was Bobby Freeman, their first-year man from Auburn. A 39-yard punt from line of scrimmage. The Detroit Lions now in the air so far today unofficially have picked up better than 200 yards. First and 10, Detroit from their own. The ball is actually closer to the 42-yard line than it is the 41. Tobin Rote flanks Cassidy to the right. Splits his right end junker by a couple of yards. The snap, fake to Johnson. Off to the left goes Gedman. Across the line of scrimmage and across the 45 to the 46. A pickup of 4 for Gedman, swinging wide to the left. Let's now pause 10 seconds for station identification.
WGY, WGFM, Schenectady.
Four-man Cleveland line as Rote fades as if to pass, runs up the middle, swings out to the right. He is caught from behind, but not until he crosses the 40 to the 38-yard line. He is close to a first down. He may have it. A penalty marker was dropped. A penalty is now measured off against Cleveland, 15 yards. Illegal use of hands. It moves the ball to the Cleveland, approximately the 24-yard line. The ball itself has not been placed in position. Now it is.
At the 24-yard line, it is first down and 10 for Detroit. And Walt Michaels tries to rally his teammates. He calls the defensive signals for the Browns. Vince Costello made that last tackle on Tobin Road. Doran splits left. Cassidy flanks to the right. Steve Junker is split about 5 at right end. The snap, and Road again fades to pass. Right over the middle, it is Junker at the 10, 5, touchdown! As one of the Cleveland Brown linebackers who was shooting the gap was about to get to Tobin Rote, he spotted Steve Junker right over the middle. He wrestled away from Junior Wren and went all the way in. 23 yards. Tobin Rote will hold. Jim Martin will attempt the conversion. The snap, the kick, it is good. And so now, the score is 45 for Detroit, 14 for Cleveland. The whistle. Martin comes to the ball. His boot sails off to the left. It is picked up at the 10 to the 15 by Reynolds. 20, 25, swings to the left, swarmed under at the 29. John Gordy led the defensive charge along with Jim Martin. A 5-man line for Detroit. The snap. Off to the left comes Jimmy Brown to the 30, wrestles away from one man to the 35 and spins up to the 40. He picks up enough yardage for a first down at the Brown 40-yard line where Terry Barr of the Lions secondary brings him down. And referee Gibbs now indicates first down Cleveland at the 40. Less than a minute remaining according to that clock on the scoreboard in this third quarter. That, like the second period, has seen the Browns score 1 touchdown and add an extra point, and the Lions score 2 touchdowns and add both extra points. Official attendance paid, 55,263. Renfro again breaks huddle and flanks to the right, and both ends are fairly tight, although Preston Carper is split a couple of yards at right end. Plum fades to pass. He's back at his 30. He looks. He never gets the pass away. It has fallen on the 32-yard line. It is ruled not a pass, but a fumble. Jerry Perry along with, I spotted one other number, but now I've lost it. Broke through. It is ruled that Plum's arm was not going forward in the act of passing. Gene Cronin was another Detroit Lion who was in there, and the Lions have converted another play into a break for themselves, and they have possession now at the 32-yard line of Cleveland, with perhaps time enough remaining for one play in this quarter. The gun. That's the end of the third quarter, and the score. The Detroit Lions 45, the Cleveland Browns 14.
The Lion line is tight. The handoff goes, fakes to Hart. Rote going back to throw. He throws a long one, and it is another touchdown. 32-yard scoring play. Middleton, who has flanked out to the right, went straight down the far sideline and took it in the end zone after he had outrun the Cleveland defense. So the Lions now have a score of 51-14, and Jim Martin boots it through the uprights, and the score is 52-14, and the Lion fans, some 56,000 strong here at Briggs Stadium, still chanting go, 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 as they want the Lions to pile up just as many points as they can here this afternoon. That touchdown comes just about 8 seconds into the fourth period. It was the first play of the fourth period. The Lions had the ball 1st and 10 on the Browns' 32-yard line, and Tobin Rote hit Dave Middleton, the speed boy from Auburn University. So again, Jim Martin, who has had a busy day with that right foot of his, will get set to kick off for the Detroit Lions. Reynolds is on the near side. Jimmy Brown on the far side, down at the Cleveland goal line. The score, Detroit 52, Cleveland 14 in the first minute of play of the fourth period. Martin gets the whistle, moves up on the ball. It's a high kick. It's short this time. Reynolds takes it at the 8-yard line, straight ahead to the 10, the 15, the 20, the 25, and there he is hit on a jarring tackle by Dorn Dibble, or or Stan Campbell, number 67 and not number 87. The kickoff went to the Browns' 8-yard line. Billy Reynolds came up the middle and cut to his right, but he was hit by Stan Campbell at the 27-yard line. So there the Browns have it, 1st and 10. Jim Ray Smith coming in the ball game at right guard, carrying a play from head coach Paul Brown. The Browns up to the line of scrimmage. Art Hunter is over the ball at center. Plum of the ball. He gives to Lou Carpenter away from one man. He's at the 40, the 45, cuts back in, loses his footing as he does so. And the referee rules that he is downed at the 47-yard line. That was Lou Carpenter, the ball carrier. It was Carl Karalevich who covered Carpenter at the 47 as Lou lost his footing in trying to cut to his left. This time the line is tight. The Detroit defense dug in there tightly. Plum calls the signals. He fakes to one man. He's going back to pass. He gets away from a Lion defender. Now he runs with the ball. He's at the 50, the 45, to the 40 in Detroit territory. And he is wrestled to the ground at the 42. But it'll be a first down. Milt Plum faked a running play, sent Jimmy Brown into the center of the line. Then he went back, set up the pass. There was a rush against him. He ducked under a tackler and finally was stopped by Gene Cronin at the 41-yard line in Detroit territory. Milt Plum, the rookie quarterback, showing a slight limp. He had a muscle cramp earlier in the week during a practice session. The ball in the Detroit 41. It's 1st and 10 for the Browns. Renfro away out to the left. The Lions are up there right now in a 7-man line. The handoff to Carpenter. He finds an opening. He's down to the 30, and there he is hit and hit hard. Carl Karalevich and Gary Lowe's now in there defensively for Detroit, making the stop on the play. But Carpenter gets from the 41 down to about the 31. It's going to be close to a first down, but it's 2nd and about a foot. 2nd and about a foot for the Browns on the Detroit 31. Ray Renfro takes the flanking spot out to the left. Preston Carpenter, the right end, is split by about 12 yards. The left end, Brewster, by about 3. Plum of the ball. He flips to the fullback, Jimmy Brown. He's around the right side. He's at the 30, down to about the 28. And he is hit by Jack Christensen. Christensen just upended him at the 28-yard line. But it'll be enough for the first down as Brown advanced the ball from the 31 to the Detroit 28. 1st and 10 for the Browns on the line 28. In the 4th period at Briggs Stadium, 10 minutes left to play in the football game. And it's the Lions' 5th. The Lions now are in a 6-man line, and the rush is on Milt Plum. He throws one right over the middle to Lou Carpenter. Preston Carpenter, number 40. He gets inside the 25 to the 23, and there he's dropped, and the Lions take over. The Detroit team had the rush on that time. Plum did get the pass away over the middle. And now Jerry Reichow comes into the ball game. Tobin Roach goes out. Listen to the hand he gets. Reichow, the former Iowa Stars at quarterback. Cassidy is out to the right. The handoff goes to Gedman, wide to the left. He's at the 25, to the 28, the 30-yard line. Vince Costello wrestles him to the ground there, along with a couple of other Browns. Junior Wren, the safety man, and Don Paul, the right halfback. There's another flag on the play, however, and it is going to be a penalty against the Cleveland Browns. Gedman had moved the ball to the 30-yard line, but the Browns are now penalized to the Detroit 44. Is at right end. Reichow barks the signals. He takes. He hands off to Cassidy. He's at the 50, the 45, the 40, and he is dropped at the 35-yard line. Wrestled down there by 4 or 5 of the Browns was Don Paul, who made the initial stop. Reichow started to run to his right, spun around and handed the ball to Cassidy, and he found a big hole in the middle of the Browns' line. And Hopalong knew what to do with it, and he went all the way to the Browns' 35-yard line. 21-yard run for Cassidy. On the 35, it's 1st and 10 for Detroit. Reichow again calls the signals. The flanker this time. 1st and 10, and now the Lions are in good position to get that extra touchdown that their fans have been looking for. Doran out to the left. Reichow calls the signals. He takes. Again, he hands to Cassidy on that same play, and Cassidy gets to about the 17-yard line. The only difference was at this time, Reichow was moving to his left as he handed in back of him to Cassidy. Cassidy got into about the 17-yard line. Vince Costello, Don Colo, and Waller Michaels all making the tackle. A gain of 3 yards for Cassidy, and it's 2nd down and 7 for the Lions. Middleton goes to the flanking spot. Out to the right. Jordan Dibble is the right end. The left hand split by about 5 yards. Reichow rolls to his right. He throws. There's a man there. Cassidy has it for a touchdown. We were talking about sweet revenge, and the Lions have now topped the 56 points scored against them by the Browns in 1954, because the score of this football game is 58-14, and Jim Martin will have the opportunity to make it 59. Gunnar Gatsky over the ball at center. It's spotted. It's booted. It's good. The point is good, and the score is now 59-14. The Detroit Lions 59, the Browns 14.
The 1957 professional championship game is now history. A crowd of over 55,000 here at Briggs Stadium, Detroit, I believe at many points in today's game could not quite believe what they were seeing. A Detroit Lion team that has won the professional championship by a score of 59-14. Speaking for Bill McColgan and yours truly, Ray Scott. Once again, the final score. The Detroit Lions 59, the Cleveland Browns 14. This portion of today's World's Championship game was brought to you direct from Detroit over the NBC radio and television networks.